Today I want to discuss wildfires and how they affect us and our environment. Everyone knows what a wildfire is because it is just that, a wildfire. And generally, it's a wildfire that takes place over a large area and is burning out of control. Um, and I want to talk about the destruction that a wildfire causes, of course, and I also want to talk about the way a wildfire can actually help our environment, as well as the ways firefighters use wildfires as a tool. So when people hear the word wildfire or fire in general, it's generally synonymous with devastation and destruction. And this is for good reason, but first I want to talk about why this is so destructive. Numerous major losses and empires have fallen due to massive fires that just take out entire cities. In 1997, fires set intentionally to clear forests in Indonesia escalated into one of the largest wildfires in record history, stated by Hancock 2020. And this was insane because this fire actually took out hundreds of people and numerous homes, and it was unable to be stopped, just because these people who were intentionally setting fires to create deforestation. Everybody needs to understand that fire is alive and it reacts to what it burns, as well as the humidity and nature and wind. So all these things occur, and when a wildfire gets out of control and the weather contributes to this, such as high winds, which increases the burn speed of anything that's in its way, nothing can stop it. Generally, nothing can stop it. So health problems that come with wildfires are all the pollutants that are in the air after a fire, which can run for miles and miles, nowhere near where the actual fire is occurring. Can stay in the air for days and weeks and cause acute problems such as asthma. And these problems can occur for weeks. And then there's also the secondary effects of wildfire, which are mudslides, rock slides, and and flooding. Things like that, because all this brush that was taken off the surface of the soil is gone and nothing's holding this soil together anymore. So when there's a big rain, there are mudslides that take out roads and homes, and this can generally be more dangerous than the actual fire because no one knows when it's actually coming. So that can be a major problem. I want to show this, which is a slide, or my slide of how wildfires have been increasing in recent years and have become a threat to people's lives and the environment. Each year, more and more acres burn, killing crops and animals that are unable to escape. So it does show very well that in recent years over here, we've had a lot more acres burning than before, which can come back to climate change, which we're not going to get into today, but I believe that is why we are seeing much more burns recently. So a lot of these animals that are getting stuck in these acres that are burning, they're endangered or on the edge of extinction, and it's just a major problem that occurs as well as many homes that are being burnt down and families being displaced. So after all this destruction, secondly, I want to talk about the positives of wildfires. And yes, there are positives. For instance, after a wildfire, new life can flourish. There are seeds that need these high temperatures to germinate. So after a wildfire comes in, all these new plants start to grow. Nutrients are put in because carbon is actually put into the soil after trees and things are burnt. It leaves carbon behind. And with all the old trees that may have been dying anyway are out of the way, new life can flourish. Also, tall brush and plant life that can block smaller plant life can be taken out of the way, and as new plant life grows through, animals can come in and feed off this smaller plant life. And a lot of times, the brush at the base of a tree gets so tall that when a fire comes through, it actually ignites the top of the tree as well. But when every couple of years, a wildfire comes through and burns that brush at the base of the trees, it lessens the chance of an actual major wildfire coming through, because that bark on the trees is actually very resilient and it can stand up to the conditions of the fires that burn across the floor. Farmers also use wildfires to, at least controlled wildfires, to burn off their crops after they have harvested them to put the nutrients back in the soil. So wildfires can be a positive thing in nature when the circumstances are correct, of course, and they can bring new life into the world. Third, I want to talk about how firefighters can use fire to stop potentially massive wildfires. Using controlled burns, firefighters have learned to burn off the brush or fuel that is between them and the oncoming wildfire. This essentially chokes out the fire by removing one of the key elements needed for fire to burn, and this is called backburning. And if it's done properly, it can stop wildfire in its tracks. And it was used a lot in Australia in these past few months with the massive fires, just to try to get a handle on the fire. Wildland firefighters study different burn patterns and different plant life in order to have a better understanding of how fire burns. And being able to literally use fire to fight fire, as people can say, and actually prevent a major loss of life and property, if done correctly, is a major positive to using wildfire to fight fire. So to conclude, I believe that wildfires are something I take very seriously because my family's property was threatened by a large wildfire that took weeks to get control of. I've been able to understand the destruction of fire, the way fire can restore an environment, and the way firefighters use fire to help in their practices of wildland firefighting. I believe having a good understanding of how wildfire affects us today is a great way to better understand what we can do to limit the negative impacts of a fire. Everyone needs to understand the fires can be a building block and a great tool, and can also get out of control if not properly understood. Thank you.